Hello? Hello, hello? What's up, people? Hello? Hold up, let me get my face on the screen. Hope I didn't startle anyone. Whoop. What's up, people? Hello? How y'all doing? Oh, yeah. Wait, is my mic on? Testing? I can't tell. You guys should be able to hear me, right? What's up, people? Hello. How y'all doing? What up, what up, what up? Nice to see a lot of people showing up today. Is the sound okay? Is it working fine? Good evening. It is, it is. Okay, good. Alright. Alright, alright, alright. Hold up. Maybe I turn down the music a little bit. There we go. Okay, what's up? Wait, this track is weird. There we go. Okay, what up, people? How y'all doing? Welcome to another installment of the Bootcamp series. We're gonna be doing sculpting today. Okay. Yeah, so it'll be 1.5 hours of me teaching you all the very basics of how to do sculpting in Blender. And if you've never seen me before or never been on the bootcamp, my name is Onwa. I'll be your instructor today. I am a 4th semester student here at CADA. And I've been doing this thing because some people are curious. I will also, if you feel like it, you can look at some of the stuff I've done. Just to get an idea of who I am, so we're not so so we're not so far apart. There we go. Let me look at who showed up in the chat. Oh, so many names. Ali, Charlie, KG, Alex, Klaus, Taco, Amy, Katrin. What up, Katrin? Philip, Stir Bucket, Renan, Renny. Oh, there's some repeats too. Whatever, bunch of names. Oh, so many. I'm happy to see it. Okay. Are you all excited to do some sculpting today? Okay. There we go. I got a very cute concept ready for you all today. But first of all, I need to know, because I need to know how long I need to talk about stuff for before we start sculpting and all that. So, Turkish? Hell yeah, yeah. My grandparents came to Denmark in the 70s, so I do speak a little bit of Turkish. Is using a mouse okay today or need a graphic tablet? Mouse is okay. I do always recommend a graphic tablet. I do have one here, but I will actually use a mouse for a lot of it today as well. Okay, so we do this. This is how we do stuff on the stream. So purple hand up if you have Blender up and it is functioning. So give me a purple hand up if you're ready for me to start talking about 3D stuff. I have it ready, so my hand is up. Not wasting time today, I want to get far with our concept. And some ground stuff about how the stream works, you know? So, we're doing it live, and we're doing it live because I want to be able to assist you all. So if you have any questions at any point during the stream, please just ask in the chat. And I know if you ask the question, it probably means there's a couple other people thinking about the same question. So by asking questions, you just make the quality of the stream higher and you just improve it for everybody that is partaking. And if you think I'm doing something too fast or too slow, just let me know in the chat as well, you know. It's just a win-win for everybody. Alright, a lot of people ready? Okay, let's fire it up then. Alright, so how many of y'all have been doing stuff in Blender before and you're like, okay, maybe I want to try sculpting? And how many are completely new? So give me a little blue, yes, I'm completely new if you've never touched the software before. I will go over the basics, but you know, it's just for me to get an idea. So I'll just start off by teaching you all how to, like what you're seeing on screen. Okay, I'll talk about it a little bit, and I want to get to the concept as fast as possible. But here, your main window when you open Blender is gonna be your 3D viewport. Okay, so this is your little sandbox. This is where you're gonna see all the objects in your scene, and this is where we're gonna start manipulating stuff. Brand new, brand new. Okay, that's great. That's great. So to you all that are brand new, don't be shy. Ask questions in the chat. If I ever lose you at some point, just let me know, and I'll gladly repeat stuff. It is not an issue at all for me. Just messed around with Blender a few times. Okay, so this will be great. This will be great for you all. Okay, so the main viewport here, you can see the hotkeys that I'm pressing in the bottom left. So to rotate or orbit around your main viewport, you hold down middle mouse. Okay, to pan around, you hold down shift and then middle mouse. Let me turn down the music a little bit more. There we go. Is the music volume fine too? So middle mouse, shift middle mouse, and you use these in combination, and you can start rotating and moving around your scene. You can scroll on the scroll wheel to go in and out. Now for today, it'll be relevant for all the people that are using a graphics tablet. You can do the same thing, but instead of using the middle mouse, you just press the little button. Okay, you press the little button and use that instead of the middle mouse. And if you want to zoom, you can hold down control and then middle mouse in and out, or press the little button. Okay, so what we can do inside the viewport is we can see what we're working with, but we can also move it around. So on the left side, I'll go over all these tools a little bit more on the next stream, which is the modeling stream. But for now, we just need to know the basics. You have your move tool out here. You can drag around with the arrows. You have your rotate tool. You can rotate it around, or you can scale it up and down. So you have all these tools here. If you want to go back, you can click Control Z. Gonna want to go forward, you can click Control Shift Z. Okay, so you can undo and redo. If you want to use hotkeys for these, you can. G is grab, S is scale, R is rotate. Okay. I hope people are following along. I just recommend you all just, get used to moving around a little bit in the viewport. On the right side, we have the outliner. So if we ever lose something, we can find it there. We can select stuff by left clicking in the 3D viewport or left clicking stuff in the outliner. And if we have a lot of stuff out here, we can also search for it. So we can search for light or cube or whatever. Okay. Under that, we have the properties menu, and there's some other stuff that we can use. This is context sensitive, so if we're gonna do something with that, which we will later, it's important that you have the right thing selected. So if I select the camera, I'll get some options for the camera. If I select the light, I'll get some options for the light. Stuff like making it brighter or something like that. So it kind of has like a lot of options for whatever it is that you're selecting in there. Are you using a graphic tablet with a screen or without? I'm using one with a screen when I'm up here in the office or the school, just because that's what they do have. But at home, I actually prefer using one without a screen because I like looking up at my screen and then working at the same time. For drawing, I do like one with a screen. Okay, hand up in the chat if you're following along. I hope I didn't lose anyone that fast. Hand up in the chat. Do we get the basic navigation and all that? And then I'll continue to some more sculpting relevant. And while people are writing a hand up in the chat, I'll find the reference for today. Whoop. Oh, that's my team chat. So I don't know if we have any Teamfight Tactics players in the chat or any League players, but we did one of these last time and I thought it was a great idea, so I just want to do another one today. I thought it worked so well. Boop, boop, boop. Get ready for the little sneak peek. Boop. Okay, people are following along. That's nice. Can PC tablet work like a Surface Pro? I'm not sure what a Surface Pro is. Oh, a Surface Pro is a okay, I get it. It's like a PC but with a touch screen on it. I'm not sure if it can, but you know, a drawing tablet, especially for something like sculpting, you can get a real cheap one for like $50, $30, and it will work fine. You don't need like a super advanced one like a Cintiq with a screen and everything. Okay, people. So this is the concept that I've chosen for today's stream, and I think it's very cute. I had a couple different options, but I chose to go with this one. And I think it has a lot of simple shapes, but it's also very adorable. I think it's like appropriate difficulty. It might be a little bit harder than the last one, but I think we can do it. So this little legend from Teamfight Tactics. It's cute, yeah, I think it is really adorable too. That's why I chose it. I like it a lot. I hope you all like it too. Let me know in the chat if you do like it, because you know, I want to pick stuff for next time and whatever that you all enjoy, right? That's what the point of the stream is, for you all to enjoy it and learn something. And we also do have a 3D model of this thing. So if we ever get lost in the shapes, yeah, don't mind the eyes, that's kind of terrifying. You have different tiers of it, but you can rotate it around and see what it actually looks like in 3D. So I'll link both the reference and the 3D website on the Discord. So if you're not part of that, I would join it immediately, just because it's very fun as well to share stuff with other people. But I'll post it right here in the 3D Bootcamp chat. Okay, and usually after the stream we do share the work that we've done. Here's some stuff from last stream, and I love to look at that. I'll also link it. So yes, I got the Discord link there, and you all can join and look at the ref and the 3D model. Okay, let's get into the meat of it a little bit. Yes. Oop. Sorry. There we go. Just gotta get a little bit set up here. Okay, are we all ready to do some sculpting? I'll put this on the screen somewhere so you all can see it without it being too in the way. Maybe up here would be good. Okay, so, and if you have done sculpting before, you know, you are always welcome on the stream, and I don't mind people that go ahead a little bit and like move on and try to get a nice result. I do enjoy the company all the same. You can show me your work after the stream too. So we do have a couple of veterans in here in the stream too, and that's totally fine. For all the new people, I'll take you through it. So at the top here in Blender, we have a bunch of different tabs, because Blender is sort of like the Swiss Army knife of 3D, which means you can do a lot of different things in the software. Today we're going to be sculpting, so we can go into the Sculpting tab. Okay. Oh, why do I have literally nothing in my sculpting tab? It's because I didn't select my cube. Yeah. Okay, sorry. On the topic of cubes, there is not really any cube on this character, so maybe I should go over that first, right? It will be a little bit difficult to take a cube and sculpt it into a sphere. You know, you might have done that in the Elden days with a marble cube, and you like chisel it out. Luckily, nowadays we have modern tools, so we can left click our cube and we can delete it. Oh, shit. Left click our cube and delete it. And now you've basically been, what should we call it? Duped. You've been introduced to Blender because that cube has been deleted a million billion times before. And we're gonna go here to our add menu and we can add a bunch of different shapes. But for now we'll just start with a sphere, okay? So you can imagine how a sphere will be very useful for what we're sculpting here on the right. So there's some stuff that you need to get used to with Blender being a 3D software before we can really start getting creative and sculpting. And when you add a new shape, you'll see that it has this very jagged look. And to get rid of that, you simply right click and click Shade Smooth. So now we'll just smoothen out all those polygons. Okay. So what you're seeing is a 3D model is made up of polygons. And each of them is just like a flat surface. And if you have many of them together, it looks like a round surface. That's the gist of it, okay? So you can right click and Shade Smooth. I'll get back to why that's important in a little bit. But now we can select it and go into our sculpting mode. And we can start doing stuff. Okay. So we have our different brushes or tools out on the left side here. And there's a lot of them. So if we just go with the first one called Draw, we can just left click on the surface and we can start drawing. But not a lot happens. It kind of does if we keep pushing it. You know, we do see something eventually, but it's kind of difficult to get to work. So you can click F to increase and decrease the brush size. Okay. And why nothing happens is because when we sculpt, we push and pull these polygons that a 3D model is made up of. Okay. So to sculpt in 3D, we have to use a lot of polygons because then we can have very detailed surfaces. Okay, and so this is like it's a little bit dry in the beginning, but I promise you all, like there's a 1, 2, 3 things that you have to get, and then you can just start sculpting. Immediately crashed. I don't know, try again. I'm sure it might be able to work. Okay, so what we gotta do is we gotta click this remesh button, and here we can choose how many polygons we want on our mesh. Like very simply set, right? So we can set the density. So if we set it to something like 0.5 and we click remesh, you can see now there's many more polygons. And now if we start to draw, we can see it more clearly. Okay. So we get these weird shapes now. If we want to smooth it, we can select any brush and we can just hold down Shift and draw on the surface, and we can smooth it out. And then you can let go of Shift and then you can draw on it again. Okay. I'll delete this sphere in a little bit. This is just to show you all how the tools work, so don't worry about messing it up. Now is the time to mess it up. If you hold down Control, you can go in. So you see how I kind of made a cavity. So if you hold Control, the brush does the opposite thing. So it goes in if it usually goes out. Then you can just left click to go out. And Control to go in. If you feel like your model is still lacking polygons because it's starting to look weird, you can just go remesh and then lower the number. The lower the number you get, the more polygons you will have. And obviously that depends on how strong your PC is and all that. That should not be an issue today though. And then we can get even cleaner lines and more detail if we want to. So we can make a little face here. Big nose. So I hope you all kind of get the gist of how that works. And so the tools we're going to use the most today is probably one called the grab tool. So the grab tool is very useful, like if we wanted to make this ear shape or something, instead of trying to put clay on top and like layering it, you can just grab your clay and pull it out. If you make a big brush, you can just grab it, maybe smooth it. Okay, and then you're getting something that's kind of close already. So it's a very useful brush. And then if this was the ear, we would go back, and then we could make another piece of clay to make the head, for example. Go back into sculpting mode with that one selected, and then you can like draw on top of that one. 16 gigs of RAM. I mean, you probably can. It's obviously better to have a nice PC when you're doing these kind of 3D things, but okay, people, so we're doing a head count again. How many of you all have been able to get to this point where you have a piece of clay and you can like draw on it and you can actually kind of see what it is that you're drawing? So hand up in the chat if you've gotten to this point. I have. Hand up in the chat. I did. I got to this point. Let me see how many people are following along so far, and let me know if there's any questions or stuff went too fast and all that. Okay. So it can be a little bit confusing with the remeshing and all that. But like once you kind of do it 1 or 2 times, it's like, okay, that's what you have to do, you know, and you kind of get it. Of course, there's always more to things, but that's just like a beginning stage. I couldn't find the sphere. I found the metal ball. There's a metal ball? So if you can't find the sphere, what you need to do is click add up here in the left, and you have mesh. Under mesh, you have a bunch of different shapes or forms. You can also click Shift A and add it from there. Yes, the stream will be available afterwards on the YouTube channel. All the streams are, and also the last sculpting stream is also available. Barely managing to follow. Okay, that's great. We're maximizing learning and time. That's fantastic. Can we use subdivision surface instead of remesh? That's a great question. So let me show you how that works. It's actually a fantastic question. So what Roberta is asking about is, okay, so I'm used to modeling in Blender and I like to use the subdivision surface modifier, and that one is great because it kind of divides our mesh. So it divides our mesh for us. But the thing with subdivision surface is it divides our mesh, but it doesn't really do it. It just does it when we want it to, okay? Which means that when we go into the sculpting, if we try to draw on it, nothing will happen because it's still treating it as if there's only those 4 or 6 points or whatever. So we can still pull those points around. You can see where the dot is, that's where the points are. So you can see we can still pull these points around in the sculpting mode, but we can't do anything else. Then you would have to use a multi-res modifier, and all that is like for another stream, right? And you can still do this if you're used to modeling in Blender. It's still actually good for this kind of stuff, but you just have to know the limitations. Okay, so let's move along then. If people are following, I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy to see it. I hope that answered your question. Oh wait, it wasn't Roberta, it was Goran that asked, sorry. Yeah, but I hope that answers your question, Goran. Okay, so where do we go from here? So we made a mess. Let's just start out by deleting our mess and then adding a new UV sphere. What settings for remesh? So I'll go over it now because we're adding a new sphere. So I'll just start out by right clicking, clicking shade smooth so we don't get that flat look. What settings for remesh? Nah, it's all good. Don't worry, it's okay. Yeah. So okay, remesh. People are asking about it. That's fine. So once we have the sphere, we want to remesh it. So for the remesh here, really it just depends on how detailed you want to work. So it's kind of nice to start in the beginning with a lower number just because it's easier to control. and you'll sort of get a feel for that. So if I click edit mode here, you can see how many polygons there are. I'll just start with like 0.5. Okay, you get this. There's no real answer. There's no real, like, this is how it has to be. If you need more detail, you can just type in a lower number. I just start with 0.05. Okay, I click shift around it to smooth our little ball a little bit. So, okay, maybe before I do that, I should mention. So before I start sculpting on this little ball, I kind of forgot. It is a very nice thing to turn on symmetry up here in the right. So if we start sculpting on one side of the ball, the other side will follow. So we don't have to sculpt both sides if we had to do something on either side. Okay, so there's a little X symmetry up here. It's very useful. So you can turn that on and then you can start sculpting. I accidentally set my remesh to the lowest setting and now my PC is not happy with me. Yeah, you have to be a little bit careful. That's why I say it's better to start with a higher number and then go down as you go. It also helps with situations like that. Okay, so now we look at our little guy and use the reference. So I want to start with the largest shape I see and then work my way down from there. And that's just like a general sculpting principle, whether it's even drawing principle, doesn't matter if it's digital or traditional with clay and all that. So focus on the big shape and then go from there. So I'll just go ahead and try to get something that looks like the head. So the head looks like a little bit of a squared off ball to me. So I'll go ahead and do that. So with the move tool, I'll just kind of press it around like a piece of dough. You can hold down shift if you need it to be smoother. You know, if you really want to see, if maybe you want to make a mark where the eyes are supposed to be. So we can do like, you know, just so we don't get lost in this space. Also, if you have a tendency to get lost, I like to put on the floor. You can do that up here. There's a setting for it. Okay, up here there's a floor setting. So view overlays floor. You can turn that on. So you can move it around and we can always go back to it, right? That's the thing. So just get something, okay, that somewhat resembles that shape. Yes, I'm using a mouse right now. Because right now I'm just pulling and pushing it around. I don't really feel like I need to use a tablet. And also I have all this stream stuff set up in front of it. So when I need to, I will use it. Okay. It's also very good to use the 3D reference if you have the patience for it. So you can go around here and see what it looks like. You see it's kind of like a cube, but it has rounded corners. So it's not quite a cube. You could also start with a cube and then use the subdivision like we did before. It would also be a good starting point. Okay. So remember, you can always come back to it. I think for now, let's move on to the next step. So if we go back to the layout mode, I hope you all are following along. Let me know if I go too fast. If you go back to layout mode, you can move this little thing upwards. Okay, so you see where the floor is, we can just move it up. And now let's like work on the ears, for example, or maybe let's do the body. Yeah, let's do the body, it's probably smarter. So we can click Shift D to duplicate it, or I believe we can also do Control C, Control V if you're more used to that, doesn't really matter. But you can duplicate it and then pull it down. So just like select off of it or on it, or you can hold left click and drag a box. It just needs to be orange. And then go into sculpting mode. And then we can work on the body. You can hold down shift to smooth out if you put some eyes on it, or like a little placeholder eye thing. You can smooth it down if you need it to be a little bit thinner, whatever. You can use a brush called inflate if you want to. So with the inflate you can blow it up kind of like a balloon. If you hold control, it'll do the opposite. It'll like take air out, you know, so you can kind of do that. So let's make him leaning forward a little bit. And right now your main focus is just the proportions of it. Don't get stuck in anything about like, oh, it doesn't quite look good, or it's missing some detail or something like that. No, we will get to all of that. Right now we're just doing proportion. Where did you get the reference art? This is a little legend from Teamfight Tactics, and Teamfight Tactics is a League of Legends game mode. He's called Nixie. I put it up on the Discord too, so under the Bootcamp, 3D Bootcamp chat, I'll link Discord too. There's the reference and the 3D website that I'm using as well. So I think the neck needs to be thin. What's like a good thing to focus on here is getting that thinness of the neck to that big wide head. That's kind of one of the things that makes this concept look really cute and makes it work. Those are the kind of things that you have to pay attention to. And that's like more sculptural, like art talk, but if you want to make something feel like the concept, you have to kind of understand what makes the concept feel the way that it does. Oh no, that was very artsy. I'm sorry, people. I will hold back with the artsy talk. I do apologize. You can make great stuff without getting into all of that as well. Alright. Let's say we're happy with that for now. I'll give it a little second. It's also a great place to start, or a great time to ask questions. You know, you all can ask questions about me as well, or the school. I'll go a little bit slow here in the beginning and let everybody sort of catch up, because, you know, some of you all are doing this for literally the first time ever, so. Okay, are we following along, people? You know, you can sit and adjust the shape forever, you know. It's really a lot of stuff goes into kind of making a 2D thing into a 3D thing. How do you elongate the second part? Which shape did we add to create the body? Okay, so what I did is I went into the layout mode and I clicked Shift D to duplicate this thing, or you can also click Control C and then Control V to copy and paste it. Then you can move it down a little bit and then you go into sculpting mode. Oops, gotta make sure that the outline is orange. So go into sculpting mode, you can smooth it out. You can pull it just with the move brush, you can just pull it into a long shape, smooth it. You can use the inflate brush to make it fatter, or hold control to make it thinner. You can smooth it, so kind of like that. You just pull it and push it. How can I edit both of the meshes at the same time? Seems that Blender is focused on the new one. So if you want to sculpt them, both of them at the same time, let me see if this actually works in this version. Yeah, you're gonna have to combine them, and we might do that later, but for now I recommend keeping them separate. But if you wanted to, you can hit Ctrl J to combine them, and now you can sculpt on them at the same time. For now, I just recommend keeping them separate. There's a bunch of different like poly groups and all that to make this process like more usable or faster or all of that. But for today, it's just the very basics. It's fine. Yeah, Control does the opposite. I think with most of the tool, if not all of them. Okay. I hope that answered all the questions. How do I orbit the object? Yeah, you kinda do need a middle mouse for that. I think there is a... Oh, someone had the same... Does anyone remember where that is? There's an option to switch it for people that do not have middle mouse. There's an option somewhere, maybe Google will give you the answer, but there is an option to navigate without the middle mouse. Sorry, Klaus, I don't exactly remember right now. Okay. I hope we're all moving along. So, I will go for some arms, maybe. Or maybe I should do some legs just to place the character on the ground. Okay, I'm sure there's a way. So for the legs, we can do the same thing again, or just Shift D on our little main body here. And we can scale it down if we want to. We can also do that while sculpting. But now we're going to do a cool thing. So instead of sculpting a leg here, and then literally having to redo the exact same thing on the other side, we can use a mirror modifier, and that pretty much does what you would expect it to do. It acts as a mirror, and it copies whatever's on this side to the other side. You can use the shortcut Alt-Q to switch between two separate parts in sculpt mode. So there you go. That is a very useful hotkey. So if you want to switch between them and not sculpt at the same time, you can hit Alt Q and then you can go to the next one. Okay, hope that's useful. So instead of sculpting this whole leg and then going to the other leg, what we can do is add a modifier. So in your properties tab here, there's a little wrench icon. You can add a modifier here called mirror. Okay. And then you've got to choose whatever object it is that you want to use as a mirror. So I want a mirror to the other side of this body. So I use a little pipette here and then I click the body and now it's mirrored to the other side. Okay. So whatever I do on this side will happen on the other side too. Okay, so I can smooth it down. I can use the little inflate, hold down Control, make it thinner, smooth it a little bit. I can remesh it. All the same stuff happens on the other side. Okay. So now it might actually be helpful to turn off the X symmetry just so I can move the leg into place. Can use the inflate brush a little bit smartly here. Okay, and then we have two little legs. If it's starting to look very jank, you can up the res a little bit or smooth. Okay. How to mirror again? Yeah, of course. So you gotta go to your properties tab. There's this little modifier wrench icon. So you click whatever it is that you want to mirror. You go to this little wrench, and here you can add a bunch of cool stuff, like a bunch of modifiers. Here you can search for mirror, select that, and now you have to choose where you want the mirror to be, and you want it to be on the body because we want to copy this thing to the other side of the body, right? So use a little pipette on the mirror object, this little pipette, you can click the body, and now use the body as the mirror. And so whatever happens on the one side will be copied over to the other side. Okay, hope that worked for people. And you know, as you start getting more and more parts in there, you will be able to see the stuff that needs to be adjusted as well, because you have something to see it in reference to. So Alt Q to switch between the things. Okay. How you all doing on that? Okay, we getting so far together? Are we doing fine? Now, by the way, instead of setting up that whole thing again, an easy way to do it is just duplicate your legs, and then we can use those as arms, and then they will also be mirrored. So, oops, we can go into sculpting, and now we can just start sculpting the arms. Remesh them. Yes, the transmission will be saved to watch later on the YouTube channel. All the streams are available there, also the last sculpting stream. Okay. Yeah, no worries. Might still be able to get something out of today, even if you joined late. Are there anyone in the chat that have used ZBrush before, by the way, and maybe are thinking about trying Blender or something like that? That would be interesting to know. So I'm not really worrying too much about the spikes and all that right now. Just trying to get the proportions of things looking okay. Okay, that's it, that's okay. Okay, let me do a hands up in the chat if you have managed to do something that is mirrored. If you're following along so far, let me know. Just so I don't keep rushing ahead and then people are not following and all that. So I did. I made a mirrored object. I put my hand up in the chat. Never tried ZBrush, but try creating some low poly objects. or low poly projects. I mean, if you've done any modeling in Blender as well, it's great. Like, it's all useful for sculpting too. Okay, good to see people are following. Yeah. Okay, that's nice. Okay, great. So then it should come as no surprise that to make the ears, we just copy the legs again, or the arms, or whatever. We can rotate them if we want, or we can just go straight into sculpting mode. Okay, we can move them into place. If they ever get like super weird or jank, we can just remesh one more time and it will sort of fix itself. I do recommend looking at the reference, and especially the 3D reference is great if you ever get confused. It doesn't really get more clear than that. Unless you literally have the thing in your hand. That might be more clear. Now, a cool thing to note is if we want to grab stuff around and make like this kind of spiky grab, it's a bit hard to do it with the normal brush. It kind of always does like this weird soft thing. So if you go into the fall off setting of your brush, so your brush is here, and there's a bunch of settings for the brush, like the radius and all that. You can click the fall off setting, and you can click, instead of having a smooth one, you can click sharp fall off, and now if I drag it, see, it'll grab in like a more spiky manner. It'll kind of do that. Okay, so that can be useful if we want to create this kind of sharp spike here. So that's very useful. And it will save it if you go in and out of the brush just fine. Yes, of course, I can go over that again, Taco. How do you quick change the editable? So Alt and then Q, Alt Q. So I'll do it here too. So Alt Q. Okay, so to mirror an object, I'll go over that again. So go into the first layout tab here. So under your outliner, you will have this properties menu. So to begin with, you could duplicate the head out to one side, move it wherever you want. And on the properties menu, with your duplicated object selected, or the object you want to mirror selected, you can go to this modifier icon, which is also a wrench. Click add modifier. So button here, add modifier, search for mirror. Select it, and now you gotta select whatever it is that you want to use as your mirror. So at this case, I want to mirror to the other side of the body or the other side of the head. So I can use the little pipette and select the head, and now I have a mirrored object. Yeah, you need to hover over the thing with Alt and then click Alt Q. And this music is a little bit whack today. Okay, there we go. I hope that helps you out and answers your question. Yeah, no worries. It's very useful. It's a very useful thing to know. If you've ever used ZBrush or heard about ZBrush, one of the things that makes Blender fairly attractive is the fact that it has all these sort of modeling tools, and they're very non-destructive, so you can use those to your advantage when you're sculpting as well as modeling. Alright, so let's try to make a tail here. So I'll do something that might seem a little bit counterintuitive, but I'll actually split the tail. So you see we get something weird here. I'm just gonna hit remesh. If you're ever in doubt, just hit remesh. Now we're getting holes, so I'm gonna inflate it and then remesh. So this tail is obviously in one piece, but I'm actually gonna make it in two, just because it'll be easier to control this big, oh shit, I'm not showing my, sorry. It'll be easier to control this big part separately from the small part. Because when you have something very thin, it can become a little bit hard to work with, as you guys are already seeing. Can. So I'll move it back to a soft fall off again. Okay, you can kind of get this sort of curve here. How did you make the tapering of the ears? Yeah, no problem. How about I show you on the tail? So if we copy over our head here and use as the tail base. So if we want to make a tapering here, we go into our sculpting mode, and then if we try to pull it out with the move brush, it won't look very tapered. But we can change that, because we can change the way our brushes act by going up in the brush settings up here at the top. There's one called fall off, and then in here there's one called sharp. So instead of having like a soft fall off or a soft radius on the brush, you can have a sharp one, which is basically like it pulls from a single point instead of like a soft point. I hope that makes sense. Visually that should make sense. So it's the difference, right? So if you use a sharp one, we'll get that kind of pointed effect. So I just went in with a sharp brush, and then I start pulling, not being too careful about it, just push stuff around, smooth a little bit, then you get like a tapered effect. Yep, no worries, no worries. Can even curve it all the way back a little bit here. Using 4.0 for now. There's no specific reason. I think it's just because I had the plugin installed here, and like that's just what I've been using for the bootcamps. It's not my personal PC, this one, so I don't really keep it super up to date with everything. Everything should be pretty much the same. I think maybe 4.3 the brushes are actually at the bottom. Is that correct, people? I think the brushes might be at the bottom for you all. I kind of forgot about that. For my personal work, what I do is I use Blender 3.6 actually for stability, and then the fact that it has some plugins and all that, and I don't really want to convert those to the new Blender. But then I use 4.3 when I gotta render. Alright, let's say something like that. Yeah, they're down, yeah. I think you can model something that would be great as like a base shape for some of these things, but it can be really quite difficult to get like nuance. And there really is a lot of nuance even in these simple shapes. That's kind of how I feel about it. And you know, the stream's intention is just to get people introduced to sculpting in Blender. So using something very simple just to get used to the tools is yeah, just an easy way to get in. Like, of course, if you knew what you're doing with modeling, you could model something like this, kind of. And when I do work, my personal workflow, I do use modeling and sculpting in combination with each other to create characters. Okay. I hope that answered your question somewhat. Let me take a look at the 3D model. Let's see how far off we are. Wait, didn't they... Wait, what is this ref I'm looking at? That's not the same one. Hold up. I'm looking at the other Nixie. I'm looking at CADA. No? Oh yeah, I guess the exact one that I'm looking at is not available in 3D, I'm not sure, but I mean these ones are all close enough, right? So we can look at this and see how far or how close we got. Okay, so I can see that my gesture is fairly off, which is something that I will fix because I think it's important. So you can see how mine is looking stiff like a board, and this one is kind of, it has this curve to it and it's looking upwards, right? So it's this kind of small thing with a very heavy head, so it's just like looking up all the time, kind of. It has like that curve to it. Let's go ahead and fix that. That's a big part of sculpting. You gotta readjust, reevaluate. So here we go. So we gotta give it that like looking up, kind of like a little, yeah, like, you know, a toddler would, a kid or something would look up. Okay, it's actually doing it even more. It's very exaggerated. Okay, you can see that the way they did it, they put the neck a little bit behind, which looks good. It's kind of what you would expect. Okay, we have the stomach coming out, so something like that. Then this thing needs to be a little bit thinner here. Okay, and then for the legs, oh, they did a weird shape for the legs. It's kind of like, okay, we might do something similar. I don't know. Let's see. could stick to the concept a little bit closer. I do like that. It's a little bit simpler to look at, the fact that it's kind of following this curve of the body. I don't mind that. And so these things, we can combine them later too. It's just easy to work with them separately right now. So we can move them around and have that control. Okay, so arms go down a little bit. So that's why a 3D reference is very nice, because you can see it from all angles. Of course, very rarely would you want to make something in 3D that has already been made in 3D, but it is kind of like nice just for practice, and I'm sure for a lot of you all it's your first time, so nothing wrong with doing that. Where do you find your references? I just googled a little legend, teamfight tactics. I just had the idea when I saw it. I just saw it randomly on the internet. I was like, oh, you know, this is simple enough where people could do it. And it's very cute at the same time, so that's great. Okay, we're gonna chill out a little bit with these arms. You know, also the bigger we make this little junction here, the smaller the head is gonna seem, and we want it to seem like it has a huge head. So we gotta keep those things in mind. It's probably one of the most important parts of this character, is the difference between the head and then the neck. Okay, that's starting to look a lot better. I should have saved the before and after. I should do that for the next stream, because these kind of things really do change a lot. It like really changes the perception of it a lot. So they made the tail really long. It's kind of a smart move. So let's go ahead and do something like that. And we can inflate it here to make it like a little bit from a fig to a fin. Okay, something like this. Working fine. Then we can flatten this a little bit and make it like more of a leaf shape. There we go. Okay. So I'll try to get as much done as I can. This like, oh, the time that we do have left, just so we have something at the end of it. Let's try to put in some eyes at this point. It does have this kind of like little snout shape if you see for the nose, it kind of has that little point. Let's try to get a little point in there too. Yeah. Okay, and then we go ahead with some eyes, some eyeballs. Let me close down that one. This one is a little bit closer to what we have. I also see now that I made my ears way too small. So I can go ahead and just scale them up by clicking S or using the tools. Ears go kind of like that. So I'm rushing a little bit faster than I was before. And y'all can go ahead and work on your own little part. You know, it doesn't have to be all specific to what I'm doing right now anymore. I think you all sort of get most of what I was trying to teach the stream. So let's just try to get some hair and an eyeball on him. So for the eyeball, I can just duplicate the ear here. Looks like he has some kind of glasses on. That's not what I wanted. So I can just smooth it out. Maybe going with the inflate it. So if you get this thing, you can remesh it and then smooth it. Okay, we can move it. Okay, let's see if we can get it in somewhat the right shape. Okay. It's like one of those things where the shape of your head and the shape of your eyes, they have to be like just right all together. Okay, I think that's fine right now. Should look nice once we put some color on it, hopefully. Okay, we can go ahead and duplicate out this to put some hair on him. Could also go freestyle and give him some horns or something like that. That would look cool. just encourage everybody to work on their own thing. You know, we got a little bit of time left on the stream, so just get what you can done, and then we'll look at what everybody has been doing all together. Okay, if you ever get something uncentered, you can center it right here. Which shape did you use for the tail? I just took the body or the head and just duplicated them all. It's same as all the other things, you just start pulling it and then using the inflate with control to make it, you know, less thick and all that. It's not that. It's all the same. Okay, let's give it a little bit of a hairstyle. Okay. Lastly but not least, I will try to get some paint on this little guy. I'll just add a little bit of spikiness. So the spikiness can be added the same way as the other things, just with a little sharp brush we can go in and start pulling stuff out. Remesh if it gets too weird. Of course, there are many smart ways of doing this and ways that will look very clean, but you know, just for the stream, because obviously I have to choose whatever it is that I want to teach in the limited time. Kind of pull it around to get a little bit of a spiky thing on there. It's not perfect, but that's okay. Okay. Let's try to get some color in this little guy. So the way we're gonna do it, and you know, this is like kind of extra, so if you feel like you have the extra, let's just say like brain power, brain capacity, feel free to do some color on them. It's not strictly necessary. So if we go into the sculpting, there's this thing called a paintbrush, and we can start painting on our little dude. Save your work, that's a very good tip. Let me save my work. Whoop. So we can call it Nixie, I think it's called. Bootcamp Nixie. Save your work, guys. Alright, so if we go to the tool settings up here, or up at the top, we can select the color by double clicking here. Okay, maybe a little bit more blue in it. Let's just go with that for now. Okay, so we can just go ahead and paint our whole dude. Honestly, I don't really know what's going on with the ears there. Okay, we painted our whole dude. And then if we click X, we can switch around our two colors. So let's pick like a sort of complementary purple. Purple with a little bit of red in it. Something like that. Okay, so we won't exactly have time to do a crazy good paint job here. So we'll just do a little bit. You can always keep working on your thing after the stream, which I would encourage. Okay. You can also smooth with the paintbrush, I believe. There's a smear brush too, you can use that. Okay. Need some color for the skin too. Okay, and for the eyes, we can pick a orange color. Just very fiery orange. Let's start with that, and then we will add some yellow to it. The part where having a tablet would be real nice. Let me try it out. And kind of go in softly, gently. Oops. Okay, and now we can add the dark of the eye. So here we should probably remesh because we will need some more resolution on this paint job. So we want to make a very high detail eye. Can smooth it a little bit. So this type of painting is gonna depend on how high res your mesh is. I can only paint one piece at a time. Is there a way I can select all? You can click Alt Q to go in between them. If you want to select all of them, you can combine them by selecting multiple objects with Shift left click and then clicking Control J, and they're combined. Hope that answers your question. So let me draw a little bit of a ring around here if I can. Might be too hard. Okay. So eyes are one of those things that you might need to spend a lot of time on or it will look weird. I'll try what I can to make it look decent. But it might be okay, and then go ahead, a little bit of a brighter color. Okay. Oh my goodness, that did not work out. It's probably one of those things I would have to revisit. So, could be a couple things. So sometimes eyes, they do have this sort of convex shape to them. But if you give them a little bit of that, it'll help them out. Okay, there we go. So eyes, one of those things, you cannot rush it too much because it really matters if they look good or not. Okay, I don't know, it's something, it's something. No, I cannot do that. Okay. Maybe we can get a little mouth on him too. Okay, again, we need a little bit more res on this thing. So we can go ahead, Dynamesh, and then smooth a little bit. Okay, might have been too much. Could you move the image? I want to visibly understand what you're doing, but the example image is in the way. Is it? I'm not really doing anything on this side of the screen, to be honest. If there's something you would like me to explain more, just feel free to ask directly. I'll be happy to help. Okay. Alright. We're getting something. Can add some accent colors, but I mean, honestly, we're about getting there, people. So it is getting close to the time where we finish up and look at what everybody has been doing and all that. I'll just add a little last couple touches here, just cause, you know, just cause. You could say a lot of things about this little guy, but at least we made it. At least we made him. Okay. So if you go here, you can change sort of the material that your little guy has on. Like a couple different ones. You can use this one, for example. Studio lighting. There's like white ones instead of gray ones. Let's just go with one of these for today. You know, you could do a whole light setup and all that too, but it's not really necessary. You can turn off all the grids and everything with this little button called Show Overlays. And so I'll just do that, and then I'll take a little screenshot of our guy. Yeah, so can you show the mirror again is what you're looking for. So let's say I wanted to, so I just shift duplicate whatever it is I want to mirror on the other side. I click on the modifier tab right here. So go to your properties, and then the modifier looks like a wrench. Then you open up, add modifier, and then you search for mirror. You use a little pipette, and then you select whatever object it is that you want to mirror on the other side of. I want to mirror on the other side of the head. And so when we use the pipette and we click the head, now we have two objects. And whatever we do here, same thing will happen on the other side. Brr. So I'll just take a little screenshot of this and share it in the Discord. So whatever method works for you all is fine. Just take a picture. We're just gonna look at it. Doesn't need to be too fancy. So usually we all share them in the Bootcamp chat. So I'll post mine in here. So from today's stream, hope you all enjoyed. I'll say this was definitely one of the harder characters that we've done. It's not easy. Maybe we can take a different angle too. Oh my goodness, the paint job on the eyes kinda hurts to watch. It's almost better like this. It's okay though. That's what we're doing here. So, hope you all enjoyed. Boop! And I'll post mine here. If you do have something, anything guys, you know, it's work in progresses and all that is fine. It is goofy. So, if you guys want to see what we did last stream, like there's a lot of submissions and a lot of it is just work in progress, you know, people learning. That's kind of what I like to see, you know. Just seeing that you guys have been in the program and trying is more than enough for me. First time doing sculpting, I think I'll have nightmares tonight. Wait, let me invite people to the server again. Copy. There you all go. Here's an invite link. Everybody started here. This is how it is. You know, everything is the beginnings. Actual show? Wait a minute, that actually looks like that character a little bit. Hold up. Secret Genius? Sculpting is hard. It is hard, but you know, you got all the stuff in there. So I'll give you a heart. You know, this character was a lot more difficult than what I imagined it to be honest. I think the last one we did was a lot easier. This one was not that easy. So I would say, you know what? The fact that you got this far is a major pat on the back to yourself, to be honest. Like, that is not easy. Especially if you're new to it all. Curve, okay, and same goes to you, you know. This character was crazy hard for some reason. The eyes especially is difficult, you know. It's not easy. And I see that you also got all the parts in there, so I'll give you a pat on the back for that too. It's nice. Give you a heart for that one too. Nice, good job, Katrin. It's cool. I like the way you did the head shape. I like the madcap look. I want to see you paint the eyes too. Those are... They need some time for sure. But good job though. You definitely got that big head to the small neck thing, which I remember we talked about on the last sculpt, that you could use a little bit more of that large to small thing. So good job on that. Blender is new for you. Well, I mean, if you're completely new to Blender, then that is great. Because, you know, that's what we're here for, just getting people introduced. So I'm happy you followed along. And you pretty much got all the parts in there, so that's great. New to sculpting. Want some good? Yeah, exactly. So, same goes to you. It's nice. the fact that you're all new to sculpting and you got this far is actually quite nice. It's just like 1 hour, 1.5 hour stream. Didn't get, I mean, that's fine. I think a lot of people didn't get to the color part. Like, there's a lot of stuff to this little character, even though he seemed simple. So good job on you, though. You still got most of the parts in there. Mikio. Emily Emil. Nice. Good job. Same goes to you. Same as all the other people, you know. Introduction to how it works. You got all the parts, and I'm happy you followed along. Gets a heart. Wait, what's this ring? Am I getting confused about something? But, you know, same as all the other people, you even got a little bit of paint in there, so you get a heart. My brain is so confused about what that ring is. Anyways, good job, Christian. Zena. They all look so shocked, mine too. It's all like, what do we put these little guys through, you know? I actually like it though, it looks cute, so major props for that, you know, it actually looks cute. You get a heart from me. Good job, everybody. Absolute train wreck. It is hard, you know, it is hard, it's not easy, for sure it's not easy. But I'm happy you got through it with me. Okay, we got a little bit of a custom devil one here. That is cool. Celosus, good job on following along. Ring is the outline from the selected mesh. Okay, right. Oh yeah, of course, it's just like a perfect, like almost perfect circle. Okay, I was so confused, that makes sense. I would have liked to paint a bit, but like, where question about it wasn't clear. Oh, did you have a question about painting? Oh, the painting thing. Oh, okay, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I might have missed it. But you know, the stream gets uploaded, so you can go back as soon as I'm done and you can see how I did that. You know, feel free to post updates in the chat too. That goes for everybody. I do like to check the chat once in a while. Second time trying Blender other than a donut. I mean, that's fantastic, right? So you being able to kind of a little bit, of course I'm doing something, but you're doing something on your own on the side, and you being able to do something is like the next step forward. Cool and funny. Okay, that's great. I like how yours looks a little bit evil. Good job on that. I'm happy you followed along and enjoyed it. Okay, people, I hope you all enjoyed the stream today. I hope you all learned something. Yes? Yeah, I hope you all liked the format. And if you did enjoy it, if you did learn something, remember, I gotta be a little bit YouTuber-esque. Remember to like the stream, because the people that tells me to do these streams, they want to see that you guys are actually enjoying them. And if you guys are enjoying them, I'll keep doing them, of course. That's the thing. Really want to learn some more about sculpting? That's great. I do love sculpting myself personally. It's like a whole rabbit hole. Good job, everybody. Give yourself a pat on the back. And that's gonna be it for me for tonight. I will check the chat if people upload more new stuff during the evening, but I'll get off for today. So we'll be doing another live stream. So next Wednesday it's gonna be modeling. Same time, same place. I would recommend everybody joining that one because that's a good one too. But for now, I'll get off. So good night, everybody. Have a nice evening. Bye bye. See you. And I hope I see a lot of you next time too. Okay, bye bye. Of course. Thank you all for joining.